Fantastic. Okay, let's go. Let's finish off last class, which is on page 7, and then we're going to talk about health, healing, and the body. Okay, let's go. Let's say, now we know what happened. We spoke last class, Persians, Spanish speakers, here we go. We spoke last class about the sin, the Chet of Adam Rishon, what it was like before and what it was like after. We're now going to look at a question of the Ramchal, and it's going to be an interesting answer. Let's say Adam HaRishon had not sinned. Let's say Adam and Chava had not eaten from the Eitz Hadas. Why do we even ask that question? Because they did. What's the point of, oh, there's no point in crying over spilled milk. Had that expression before? Don't know why I'm here. Yes. What's the point? And the answer is because although they sinned, we're going to see the results as if they hadn't sinned, and that's where we're going. Does that make sense?
How do you know?
We're going to see. That's what the prophet is going to tell us, that the result of the world, had they not sinned, all of world history is going to be fixed up to get to that point. That's what is based on the Tanakh and Meforshim, as we're going to see. Okay? When we get to that point. So let's finish this off. Fa'amnam, the davar zahay Adam Rishon megia elu lo chet. Let's say Adam Rishon had not sinned. Shaytan nishmata mizachechet et gufa zichuch acha zichuch. What would have happened is, this did not happen, but it will happen. It just didn't happen then. It was left to all of world history to make it happen. Adam Rishon's body, soul would have improved and would have impacted his body more and more and more. Ad shi'er mizachach hashiur mitztach v'nekva b'tanuk hanitzchi. His soul would have purified his body step by step until he reached a level that was required to permanently have eternal bliss. That did not happen. It should have, and it would have, had he not sinned. But that's what have happened. You see, Kevan Shechet, Adam Rishon, since Adam Rishon sinned, by the way, let's just look at that word for 1 second. You know, I'm obsessed with words. All right, what is this word? Chet. We translate it as sin, right, or sinned, right? Chata, chote is the sinner, chet is the sin. What does the word literally mean? At this point, you should know my style. We want to get the literal meaning of the word. It's going to give us a lot more. What does the word literally mean? If you know the answer to this question, I will be like mega impressed because I did not know it until recently. Yes? I'll throw it before. Okay, good. You should have told me that. I'm impressed. Yeah. The word chet actually means to miss the mark. That's what the Ramban tells us in his commentary. He talks about the chatas, the sin offering. And he says that just like an archer is trying to aim for a bullseye and veers to the right or left, he misses the bullseye, even though he's just moved a little bit. When you get down 20, 30, 40, 50 yards away, it's a lot more. So to a chet, there is no concept of sin. Sin is nothing I do about it. I sinned and that's it. That's not a Jewish concept. Right? Chet means you're focused towards one place, you go off, and then you can bring it back. That's the literal. Now, when they translate it in the Sidurim and in the Machzorim and in the Chumashim, Rabbi Art Scroll will say sinned, but that's not a Jewish concept. Right? There's no sins. It's missing the mark, which I find very reassuring to know. We are bullseye people, and then we pull off. That's the Ramban and his commentary when he discusses the Chatas on Chumash. Huechti, exactly, huechti. Right, same lashon, right? Thank you, beautiful, same shirt. That's right, huechti. Thank you, Shani. Worth you coming from Israel just for that. Okay, the kevan shechet Adam Rishon nishtanu devarim shinui gadol. When he sinned, however, things were greatly altered. It just wasn't the same ever again. Right? What happened? Not just that he sinned and he was kicked out of Gan Eden. What happened was, b'tchila hayu b'riyah chesron sheyu. The amount of evil that existed was just enough to allow a person to gain perfection. There was a little bit of evil in this world, or he wouldn't be able to choose doing the wrong thing by taking from the tree in Gan Eden, the wrong tree, the tree of good and evil. However, it was very small. Very small. There wasn't much evil. There wasn't a major challenge to choose to do the right thing. However, he says, when he sinned, however, what happened was, not only did Adam sin, the world changed and evil became a much bigger thing. Challenges in life became much greater. The Yetzer Hara was emboldened and increased, and rather than being, as we said last class, an outer reality, as represented by the Nachash, by the snake, it became internalized. You couldn't see it. Right? Before it was black and white, then choosing good from bad, right from wrong, evil and good became a lot more difficult. It became a lot more grey, a lot more blurry to exactly see. That's what the Ramchal says. Beforehand, you could see the wrong thing, you could choose it, you must have been crazy to choose it, but it was still chosen. After the sin, not so easy. Things became more murky.
Is it counterintuitive? Because if evil was minimal and Adam still sinned, then you would think, so I would eliminate evil.
Evil's going with me. That's the ultimate goal. That's exactly it. It's going to take us 6,000 years to get there.
But we didn't get there yet.
No,
So how do you know how much time it's going to take us to get
we're going to get there. I can't give you all the secrets already. You'll leave my class. All right? I know you wouldn't. You're good. Okay, so evil and good. It wasn't just Adam Rishon was kicked out. The world changed. The nature of Bria changed. It was much more difficult, became much more difficult for a person to reach greatness as a result. Pirush, meaning, we're halfway down page 4. It was much easier to become great and fix yourself. Right? Because God set it up that it wasn't so difficult to beat the Yetzer Hara. It was external. To choose the good and the straight and the right. Doesn't really have much of a reason to choose the wrong thing. Ella, if a person wants to abandon evil and choose the right thing, you can just do it and reach shleimus. However, when he sinned, he himself caused what he calls a nistara, a concealment. God's reality became concealed. Now, once again, all of this would have been reversed had he not sinned, and will be reversed at the end of history. So it's here for a reason. That is the path of history, is to unconceal God in this world. That's pretty much all of history. To unconceal God in this world. As to make it back to where it was originally. We want to go back to Gan Eden, Lifnei Achet, before the sin. Okay? Not only did evil become much greater, once again, Tanya, it became much more difficult to earn perfection. Right? It was easier to choose right over wrong, then it just became so difficult. The Yetzer Hara, the desire to do wrong, just doubled. Okay? And first of all, a person to bring himself back to the state he was before the sin. That's what we're all trying to do. Try to get back to that perfect world of Gan Eden and to reverse the way it is. That's the level. Turn over the page and we'll finish this off. So, what was needed and what is needed to do this? So once again, we've now jumped 6,000 years. Why 6,000? We'll see. And we're going to need death and resurrection, Tchiat HaMeitiv, to take us back to that point. That's going to be needed, he says. V'olam milvad kol zeh gezerah midat dino yisbarach. God, an expression of strict justice, decreed that it would not be possible for mankind to get back to the sin, lifnei achet, to reach perfection while they're still in this blemished state. Right? Place where evil, he says, has increased. Rather, he says, both man and the universe would have to go through a period of absence. Okay? See the Hebrew? Dahainu at surah sheyesh lahem akshav shabad drabar hara el yistarech lahem behechrach avor me'avor lehefsed dahainu hamita la'adam. Death had to come to the world. Okay, so the sin caused mortality to enter the world. The world before the Chet, there was no death. There was only life. After the Chet, death had to come in, and that was there. It's all there to help the world reach perfection and shleimut. Okay? As he calls it, death, v'hefsed l'kol shar havim nitkalkala emo. Right? And the entire creation had to go through this deficiency and this configuration, and this would allow the neshama to be able to purify itself and the body. Instead, the soul would have to exit the body. The soul has to leave the body. There's a reason why death exists, and that is there is a purification, leaving the body to die and disintegrate, and the body will have a chance at some point to be rebuilt as new. At that point that we're getting to, we've jumped to the end of the semester, the soul would re-enter the body, okay? V'az yachzor v'yibane binyan chadash, it would return and build a new building creation, v'tekanes ba neshama, and then the soul will re-enter the body at that point. V'ken ha'olam kula yichra b'surah shel ata. The entire world is going to completely change at that point. It's not going to be recognizable. There's going to be a massive change, take us back to the level of pre-Gan Eden. Just like you wouldn't recognize Gan Eden if you saw it now, so too, that's what's going to happen. And all of this has been decreed, he says, from the prophets we see. This is all the Nevi'im. This is not in the Torah. This is the Nevi'im. It's hinted at in the Torah, we're going to see. Therefore, it's decreed that mankind should die and live again. And that is what Tchiat HaMeitim is. Tchiat HaMeitim is the rejoining of the body and the soul, which is going to happen, we'll see, after Mashiach comes. How soon after, we'll see the various opinions. Some say right after, some say a while after. The Gemara gives a few opinions based upon the prophets, as we'll see. And all of this will be the 6,000 years the world's going to exist for. The world is going to exist for 6,000 years. Okay? And then there's going to be 1,000 years of desolation. It's the 7,000th, he says. And after that, the world will be renewed at the end of that 1,000. That's how the Ramchal says it. We have 6,000, 1,000 of change of desolation. That's the Mashiach era, and end up with Tchiat HaMeitim. Whatever this means. We're not too sure, but that's what the prophets say, commentators say, and that's how it's described. Netanya, what's on your mind?
Okay, so last class we said Hashem created the world with that. He already made Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba.
Yes.
So if Adam hadn't sinned, what would be the difference between Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba?
I don't know. It was all created with the end in mind. I'm not sure. Good question. Yeah.
So is the Ramchal saying that we die when at 6,000 years, and then for 1,000 years our body and soul are separate?
No. He's saying that we die through the 6,000 years. Death itself came to the world as we know it.
Yeah.
People live and die. At the end, there will be resurrection of the dead, of those souls. Which soul is interesting, which body is interesting, but will come together to create new life.
And that takes 1,000 years.
Yeah. Right. Whether it lasts 1,000 years, takes 1,000 years, we don't know. Yeah.
When it
By the way, I'm just telling you, Tchias HaMeitim is going to be at the end of the semester. So sorry. We're literally going to do like half a class on it. There's so little written on it. The Nevi'im hardly speak about it. The Gemara says that Ayin Lo Ra, the eye is not seen. Mashiach, we have tons. Right? The prophet saw what it's going to be like. But in terms of Tchias HaMeitim, we have Ezekiel the prophet speak about it. We have some Mefarshim, but the prophets never really have an understanding of what it's going to be like. So there's not much on it. Yeah.
When it talks about what would have been if Adam hadn't sinned, I'm just wondering how does any rabbi know that? Because it doesn't say in the Torah, right?
It is not in the Torah. This is based upon the words of the prophets, as we're going to see, and the Mefarshim and the explanations. It's all in the prophets. Okay?
And also, does that mean that Mashiach couldn't come earlier than the 6,000?
That we're going to come to. He can.
Okay.
There's going to be two dates. There's going to be an outer date and an inner date. When we get to Mashiach, which you're all fascinated with, we'll get to. I will answer, however, one question, which I didn't, 1 second, Hannah, which I didn't mention. I'll give you the hint to this idea. The first pasuk in the Torah is inside that verse, they say, is everything that is going to, they say the entire Torah is in Sefer Bereshit. The entire Sefer Bereshit is in Parshat Bereshit. All of Parshat Bereshit is the first pasuk of Bereshit. The entire first pasuk of Bereshit is found in the first word Bereshit. The first word Bereshit is found in the bet, and it's saying that bet, the dot, is really where everything comes from. You'll see in that first verse, the letter Aleph appears. How many times? Figure it out. Until I write the word Aleph. How many times does the word Aleph appear in the first verse of the Bible?
At the beginning of the sentence?
In the entire pasuk. Bereshit Ba'alef Hashem et haaretz. Any more offers? 6 is correct.
No,
There are
7.
6 Alephs in the first verse of Bereshit.
Shis is 1, Bara is 2, Et, no, Shemaim. Oh, wait.
Elokim Hashem Avet 6.
Bereshit,
Et.
Bara, Et, Hashemaim,
Ve'et
Ve'et.
haaretz.
Right.
So it's 6 times. Now the letter Aleph, when it's spelled out, looks like this. But if you change the vowels from Aleph, it becomes Elef. What's Elef? 1,000. Okay, so Aleph becomes Elef. Nachon? So Elef is a reference, they say, as we'll see inside the Maharal of Prague mentions this as well, I think it comes from the Gemara, that the world is going to exist for 6,000 years as a maximum. Okay, it's already put into the DNA of creation. The maximum is going to be 6,000. That does not mean that Mashiach will not come before 6,000, but the end of days will culminate as a maximum, what's called the outer date, by 6,000. So Mashiach must come by then. Just for interest, what are we in today? 5777. Going into 5778, which leaves how many?
200.
Oh, very good. You're a math major, right? You wish, right?
122, right?
I don't know, but it's a high number. Right, however, we'll see. That's a maximum. Mashiach must come by that time. The world has to go through this change we're describing this entire semester by that time. Hannah?
So, for 6,000 years, like at the end of 6,000 years, Mashiach is supposed to
Absolutely, it's a guarantee.
then after,
That's a basic concept principle of Jewish thought.
so this doesn't all happen at once in 6,000
Yes. No. Once Mashiach must come by then, and then there's a gradual process of the messianic era begins. So we're going to look at 3 things. We're going to look at the pre-messianic era, which we're in now, if you ask me, as well proved to you. Then we have the actual Mashiach coming himself, and then there's the messianic era that follows. That's going to be 3 phases we're going to look at when we get there.
Will the world look different?
Yes, after Tchias HaMeitim, yes. Actually, once Mashiach comes, there's going to be no more war. So that's one basic. According to the Rambam, we'll see, that's going to be the main change. Others disagree. According to the Rambam, the main change, no more war, no more violence, which is a pretty big change. Right, take all the money spent on military stuff and put it elsewhere. That's going to create a big change now. Right, well, hello.
No, but concept of money is not going to exist.
I
Is it?
hope not, because my daughters are spending all mine, so I just hope not.
Wait, but what about the Gog and Magog?
We're going to get there as well. That's going to predate that, and we'll look at the source of Gog and Magog as well. I know we've got a lot to do this semester. What do you want from me? I'm going to do my best.
So you're saying that 6,000, that's like the maximum? But
Maximum.
before?
Maximum. Mashiach can come before. We can bring.
No, like the other guy, Lubavitch.
We'll discuss all of this later. Okay.